A group of hunters exults in their triumph after bringing down a majestic elephant, showcasing the dark and ugly face of poaching. However, their joyous celebration turns somber as one of their own falls to the ground, a glinting knife in his back, the cruel irony of the hunter becoming the hunted. Meanwhile, in the bustling metropolis of New York City, the rhythmic thump of bowling balls echoes through a lively alley as Randy, Peter, MJ and Nora engage in friendly competition. Beneath the surface, though, lies unspoken tension. The situation escalates into a heated argument between Randy and Nora, exposing the remnants of their previous relationship. MJ observes from the sidelines, her face reflecting a mix of confusion and annoyance, wondering why Peter would invite Nora and stir up this simmering pot of past and present. Sensing MJ's growing displeasure, Peter pulls her aside and calmly explains his intentions. He clarifies that Randy is single and MJ had expressed a desire for a double date, so he saw Nora, who recently returned to town, as an ideal fit for Randy. As they are engrossed in this discussion, Nora's phone buzzes with an incoming news alert. The four of them gather around the device, the harsh blue light of the screen illuminating their faces as they witness a terrifying scene unfolding in their city. Surprisingly, Peter responds with an unusual calmness, assuring her that this time he doesn't have to step in. In another part of New York City, chaos ensues as the Tri-Sentinel goes on a destructive rampage, spreading fear among its citizens. Amidst the swirling dust and flying debris, a familiar figure swings into action, Spider-Man. He flings himself at the Tri-Sentinel, prepared to battle this latest threat. During the intense fight, Peter's mind wanders back to a previous encounter with Taskmaster and Black Ant, where he accidentally activated Dr. Connor's isotope genome accelerator. The shocking aftermath divided him into two entities, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. In the wake of this unusual transformation, Spider-Man takes Peter to a remote location and proposes a bizarre idea. They could lead their own separate lives. Uncertain and anxious about the potential repercussions, Peter contemplates merging back together, but before he can present his argument, Spider-Man swings away into the city skyline. In the days that follow, Spider-Man engages in fierce battles, including one with the Vulture, while Peter adapts to a life without superpowers. He observes Spider-Man's crime-fighting methods and reflects on this unique separation, realizing the opportunity it presents to build a better relationship with MJ, focus on academic commitments, and even consider a job offer from Nora's company. Back in the present, Spider-Man gains the upper hand in his grueling battle against the Tri-Sentinel, successfully rewiring the behemoth and causing it to collapse onto a nearby building. Emerging victorious, Spider-Man celebrates, but this time with a heightened awareness of the city's safety and damage. Simultaneously, Peter receives a message from Dr. Connors, leading him to ESU, where the scientist reveals a fascinating experiment involving a mouse named Horatio. Using the isotope genome accelerator, Dr. Connors had split Horatio into two beings, each capable of performing specific tasks that the original could manage alone. This discovery raises concerns, and Dr. Connors decides against testing the device on humans, fearing it could divide a person's sense of duty and power. In the vast expanse of the African wilderness, a lone explorer finds himself lost and disoriented. The untamed terrain proves hazardous as he trips over a concealed log, sending him sprawling to the ground. Survival instincts kick in, and he drags himself to safety, his heart racing against the unforgiving sands of time in this race for survival. Meanwhile, in the heart of New York City, Mendelstrom, known infamously as the Robot Master, broods in bitter frustration. A dense cloud of annoyance hovers around him as he witnesses the unexpected reactivation of the Tri-Sentinel, a creature he had once awoken from its slumber. Yet it was no longer under his control, and that added to his simmering vexation. His secret lair, a repurposed bunker from the Life Foundation, echoed with his growing discontent as the antiquated computers struggled to execute his cutting-edge instructions for the Tri-Sentinel, encoded on a CD. This clash of technologies stirred his grudge against Spider-Man, who had audaciously yanked the reins of the Tri-Sentinel and tweaked its programming to bend to his whims. With a vibrant, eye-catching repaint on the mechanical Titan, Spider-Man embarked on a tumultuous crusade against crime, bringing down notorious villains like Stegron, Hydraman and Cyclone. His raw power was a match for their villainy, but his heroic endeavors were far from finesse-filled. His unrestrained skirmishes painted the city with widespread chaos, damaging everything from local art festivals to critical power grids, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. While Spider-Man basked in the fluorescent glow of talk show stages and surfed on a tsunami of public sponsorships, Peter Parker, his alter ego, was trapped in a spiraling whirlpool of responsibility. His well-meaning attempt to pay for someone else's parking meter backfired, resulting in him being handcuffed and hauled away, a twist of irony that underscored his feeling of powerlessness. Even Aunt May's loving advice to focus on his own needs once in a while couldn't ease his conscience, as he couldn't ignore the uncontrollable storm of terror and destruction Spider-Man was causing. Seeking out his alter ego, Peter confronted Spider-Man on a lonely rooftop, hoping to reason with him. But Spider-Man's dismissive attitude was like a visceral punch, landing directly into Peter's gut. To make matters worse, the web-slinger didn't remember Uncle Ben, the very catalyst of their shared identity. Before Peter could argue further, he was bound in a cocoon of webbing, left helplessly stranded on the rooftop. As Peter writhed in the emotional turmoil of Spider-Man's shocking personality change, more grim news awaited him at Doc Connor's lab. Their test subjects, a colony of rats, had fallen victim to their genetically incomplete state. This unsettling revelation forced Peter to reevaluate his actions, leaving him in a state of uncertainty about his future. Meanwhile, cloaked in the shadowy confines of his hideout, Mendelstrom found himself on the brink of despair. The litany of setbacks and failures had shattered his spirit, reducing him to a shell of the man he once was. Yet, at the threshold of his darkest hour, salvation arrived in the form of a mysterious benefactor. This cryptic entity sympathized with Strom's plight, offering words of encouragement that his mission was far from over. Fueling Strom's dwindling resolve, the benefactor revealed a master mold, a technological marvel capable of churning out a fleet of Tri-Sentinels. With this new promise of power, a glimmer of hope sparked within the robot master, reigniting his determination for a vengeful comeback against Spider-Man. As they stroll side by side, Peter Parker is entwined in an inner struggle. By contrast, MJ's voice floats over him like a soothing lullaby, as she confesses her acceptance of his heroic nature. She once dreamed of a simple life shared just between the two of them, but she has evolved, embracing the reality of their situation. This acceptance, she admits, keeps drawing her back to him despite the odds. The passage of time sees Peter in a drastically different state. Lying on the ground, battered and bloodied, he is a stark contrast to the hopeful man seen earlier. Peter has been in a conundrum, contemplating who might help him secure the isotope genome accelerator, a vital tool he believes could heal his fragmented self. In an unexpected turn of events, Fred Myers, known as Boomerang, fumbles through a telephonic flirtation, his conversation derailed by the loud chatter of Peter and Randy in the kitchen. His curiosity piqued, Fred steps into the kitchen, inadvertently catching snippets of Peter's conversation about the lax security around the isotope genome accelerator at ESU. Fred's mind immediately latches onto this tantalizing piece of information. Soon after, Boomerang is seen loading up the stolen isotope genome accelerator into his van, an unassuming vehicle that perfectly conceals the valuable cargo. Peter capitalizes on the moment and stealthily slips into the van, absconding with it. He locates Spider-Man lounging on a rooftop and sets up the isotope genome accelerator nearby. But before he can power up the device to reunite their split personas, the peaceful night sky is shattered by the appearance of an army of Tri-Sentinels. Elsewhere, within the secure confines of his hideout, Robot Master revels in anticipated triumph, his laughter echoing ominously. He is so engrossed in his victory fantasies that he doesn't notice the mysterious figure who previously attacked Mysterio, creeping up on him, poised for a surprise attack. Back in the city, chaos reigns as Spider-Man and Peter make a desperate run from the Tri-Sentinels. When one of the robotic nightmares unleashes an energy beam, Peter instinctively shields Spider-Man, taking the full blast himself. As he grapples with the pain, Peter questions why Spider-Man's spider sense didn't alert him to the incoming attack. Spider-Man reveals his ability to turn off his spider sense despite the discomfort. Peter, weakened and on the brink of death, manages to voice his contentment about dying a hero. His confession is met with a resolute promise from Spider-Man to avenge his death. Determined to rectify their fragmented existence, Peter activates the isotope genome accelerator with his web shooter. As the isotope genome accelerator whirs into life, Spider-Man gives Peter a final piece of advice, urging him to relish the experience of becoming whole again. Now reunited, Spider-Man summons the reprogrammed Tri-Sentinel, which he dubs Spider-Bot, to assist him in the battle against the Tri-Sentinels. While Spider-Bot keeps the Tri-Sentinels busy, Spider-Man rushes to locate Robot Master. Spider-Man is met with the shocking sight of Robot Master's lifeless body. In the next moment, a group of Tri-Sentinels descends on the hideout, wreaking havoc and leaving Spider-Man barely enough time to escape the wreckage. Sometime later, peace resumes its reign. Peter and MJ enjoy a quiet evening at home, soaking in the warmth. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for our future content.